this is Skibadaa here. I'm going to do a short tutorial on how to add custom animations to a weapon using additive subgraphs, in this case for WH Mark 22. And we're going to be adding the custom third-person reload. Now, first and foremost, we want to have our animation files in a custom directory. So here's my Fallout 4 directory, and we go to data and meshes, actors, character, animations, weapon. You see I've got Mark 19 and Mark 22, and they both have, these are basically the standard third person minigun animation HKXs, except the weapon reload HKX is the new one that we want, which is being copied in. These file paths are important because you need them set up before you try to create your additive subgraph in the creation kit. You'll see why when I go into the creation kit. You'll need all of the directory file paths present. The directory file paths won't necessarily have to have all the animations in them. Only your custom folder needs to have all the animations in them, but that needs to be set up. So we've got that. So now we want to go into the creation kit, which I have ready. I've loaded up my Skibs WH Mark 22 ESP, and we want to create a additive race. Because basically this is the human subgraph data race, and this is the race entry that has all the animation data for the human race in Fallout 4. If you go to weapon, and these are, if you filter it by weapon, we've got all of the weapon-based animations linked to weapon animation keywords. You see target keywords. These are the keywords you will find in your weapon record that tell that weapon what animation sets it wants to use. And if we scroll down somewhere down here, there should be, there we go, minigun. Anim's minigun. So if we just look in, there we go. So here we have all of the animation subgraphs for the minigun, which are linked to the keyword anim's minigun. And these are going to be, the WH Mark 22 is going to use all these animations because it has the anim's minigun keyword. But we're going to add an extra keyword, or there is an extra keyword added to the WH Mark 22 weapon record called anim's Mark 22, and we want to make subgraphs that reference that keyword in conjunction with anim's minigun to look into a new directory, a new animation path that has our custom reload animation in it, and that's the directory that I had set up, the Mark 22 animation directory, which has the actual animations in it. So in the additive race that we're going to create, we want to have copies of these three subgraphs: anim's minigun, and the one with no actor keyword, the one with anim synth, and the one with anim archetype player. The rest of these are for like special instances. They're like for animations when you're injured, or like when you're crippled, like the special walk animations and so forth, but they don't really affect what we need to change to add our custom reload animation in. So to create a additive subgraph race, what you need to do is take the race you want to create the additive to and make a duplicate of it. And you open that up, and we'll rename it. So it's human subgraph grader from data for the Mark 22. and we want to make it ungendered, and then here change template to additive, and it's usually it's additive to the human race subgraph data set, and we want it to be weapons. So, but we want to now create the new subgraphs, and they're basically going to be copies of the three that we that I highlighted before. So to do that, we're going to, and this is another thing why you need to have certain files extracted from the original Fallout 4 BSA and animations BSA2, because you can't just, when you're adding things to this behavior graph, you can't just write in a file path like you can in Fallout Edit and then have it look for the file out. You have to find the actual file. It has to exist in your Fallout 4 data directory for it to be able to be referenced by the creation kit. So that's why you need to have certain things extracted from the animations BA2. I've already extracted everything, but some of the things you'll need is we'll need the weapon behavior HKX, and you need weapon behavior HKX when you're making a new additive subgraph for basically any weapon in the game. They all use this, but so we're gonna add that, and we have our target keywords. We know anim's minigun, but because this is the additive one, we want to reference our custom Mark 22 animations. We want to give it the Mark 22 custom animation keyword. So anim's Mark 22. So this subgraph will be activated when this keyword is referenced. So it won't change the vanilla minigun animations. It will only change with this keyword. So it will only reference with our new weapon. And now the animation paths, and this is where our custom animation folder comes in. So we want to reference all the same paths as the vanilla subgraph with our extra one on top. So if we put that in first, and then animations minigun. And you see the original, the vanilla animation paths, you need those directories to exist in your Fallout 4 data directory. You don't necessarily need the animations in them for the vanilla paths, because they're all still in the animation BSA2 file. But as I said, like with the weapon behavior HKX, to be able to add these animation paths to your new subgraph, they have to exist on your hard drive. So that's why you kind of have to make a bunch of empty directories sometimes. Like I've got, like if I was to show you this grip heavy directory, like there's nothing in it on my hard drive. It just needs to be there so I can change the animation path. And what was the last one? Actors, character, animations paired, I think. Right, so, and we want to change that to weapon, and okay, and there's our first additive subgraph. Now if I open up the human one, so you can see what I mean when I say it's a duplicate. So there. So yeah, you can see basically everything's the same, except we have our new animation keyword and our new animation file path. So these file paths here, the animation path, is kind of like load order, but for animation files. So it's going to look, because I've put my Mark 22 custom folder there, it's going to look for the animation files, because all the weapon behavior HKX has the names of the files that it should look for, but what you can change is the paths that it looks for those files. So it knows it needs to look for weapon reload HKX. You can tell it to look in a certain directory first, and if it finds it in that first directory, it won't use the one in the second directory. So in our Mark 22 directory, we've got our custom reload, so it's not going to use the same file that's in the vanilla minigun reload animation folder. So that's how you set it up to read new animations. So now we've got that. And if what we do, we'd need to do this another 3 times for the other 2 subgraphs, the synth one and the anim archetype player, and it's basically the same deal. You would just copy the base template from the original human race subgraph data, but then add your custom keyword and put your custom directory at the top of the animation path searching order, so it looks for your animation first. And once you've done that and created your new subgraph, you can save your file, and then the new animation should be played in game. The only other thing that needs to be done is generating the animation metadata. I won't save it for now because I've got it set. This is just a test file for this tutorial. But to generate animation metadata, what you've got to do is basically, once you've created your subgraph, your additive subgraphs in your plugin file, then you need to create a batch file with a certain set of commands. So I'll just find. So you want to create a text file, and this is the basic command. You see, like, in this case, it's for my IF54 Redux, but if we wanted to generate metadata for the new file we just made, you just put in the name of the ESP, so Gibbs 22 or whatever it's called, and you can leave this the same, but you save that and then just change it into a bat file, and you've got animgem bat, and then you run that, and the creation kit will read your subgraphs and generate the animation metadata text files you need to make it play nice and link properly with all the other animations. Basically, if you don't generate the metadata, it usually screws up paired animations, things like sync kills, and so that's one of the reasons why you want to generate the metadata. But yeah, like, once you've created, it'll take a minute to generate this, but when it's done, basically, if you go to data meshes, it will put in anim text data. You'll have a meshes folder, and in there it will have all of this kind of animation subgraph stuff. Like, it will create all of these, and then you just need to copy this meshes file into your normal meshes folder. And Robert's your father's brother. You've got your animation metadata, and all the animations should work fine. Like should in inverted commas, because sometimes it doesn't work. But that's basically my method for adding custom animations. Sorry if it's a bit of a weird or meandering description. But anyway, that's the long and short of it. Thanks. See you next time.